Hello, hello, hello. This is Elskimi from Bemis Crafty Corner, and today we're going to be doing a like a little tuck kind of notepad ephemera combo. So get out your time cards, get out your big tags. Either one of these is going to work. If you don't have them, that's fine. Use a piece of cardstock. Entirely up to you. File folder, whatever you got, get it out. Let's do it. We're looking for something that's about 9 inches or so long. I am going to get out the rest of the supplies, and I'll be right back. Okay, supplies. Hole punch. Eyelets if you have them. If you don't have them, or if you prefer, you can use these little prongy things. Usually I screw up and call eyelets these things, and now I can't remember what these are called. Brads. Obviously, you know, whatever your base is going to be, if you're going to use a time card or a tag, whichever you prefer, your scoring tools, pair of scissors, scoreboard if you have one. If you don't, not a big deal. We can work without it. And, you know, you're going to want possibly an extra piece of some file folder. And this is great for scraps. So I got this pad, 6 by 8, but there's a lot of scrap pieces in it. So we're going to use these, you know. Figure we'll use some scraps. Oh, that's pretty. So we're going to use some scraps, and we're going to make this thing, all right? Also, those pieces of, like, white paper and tea-dye paper that I'm always telling you to hold on to, get those out too, okay? All right, so I'm going to clear everything off my desk. I'm going to come back. We're going to get started with trimming our, folding our piece. I'm also going to tell you, you know, dimensions if you need to cut a piece of file folder or paper to do this, okay? So I'll be right back. All right, so I have a scrap piece of file folder here, and the width is entirely up to you. If we use one of these tags, they are 4 1/8, so 4 inches. And we want to cut off the folded end first, so we don't need that. And you can do this with scissors, put it on your chomper, whatever. Instead of me having to pull stuff in and out, this just works better. Okay, and then I want a piece that is approximately 8.5 inches long. Okay? Doesn't have to be on the money. It could be 8 1/4. Because we're all going to have different size paper and different size tags, okay? So there's no real exact measurements on this one. But we want to fold these two ends in, and we want a little bit of space between them. So if you do not have a scoreboard to do this, you can use a ruler. And I want to pull this up, let's see, about 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to measure in 2.5 inches. And if you don't have scoring tools, that's okay. Here's a chopstick. Okay, I'm just going to get right there, and I'm going to put a line in. Yes, it's making a horrible noise. If I don't have a chopstick, use the edge of your bone folder. Run it back and forth, and what you end up with is a score line that you can fold, okay? If you have a scoreboard, You're going to put this in, and you're going to score it however tall you want this part to be, which for me is about 2.5 inches, like that. And then this one here, I'm going to do about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4. Okay. Now, if they don't meet, that's okay. If you make this smaller so it doesn't meet, that's all right. Okay. Mine barely overlaps. Okay. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go about 2 1/4 on the bottom. Pull that up. And right about there, see? I don't even need a scoreboard. I just eyeball this. Okay? That's it for the base. Same thing if you're using a time card. Bring up your bottom. Hit it with your bone folder. Bring down the top. Just like that. Okay? Once you got that done, we're going to move on to the next part. I'll be right back. So I have some of my scrap papers that I've used for cutting, that I cut off of something else, and they're not quite as wide as my piece, so these are going to work for me. I also have a piece of cardstock and another piece of my leftover file folder. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to cut a piece of this about 1.5 inches wide. Okay, and I'm going to glue it onto here. And I'm doing that because I want this to be a little bit thicker. I'm not going to tape this, I'm going to glue it. And I'm going to set that to the side and let it dry completely. Okay? Now, I can add to this if I want to, you know, some pretty paper. And if I don't, that's fine. I can leave it just the way it is. But I can add some paper to kind of decorate. Let's see what we got. I think we'll use some of this. And all I'm going to decorate are these 2 flaps. Okay, so I'm just going to measure those flaps real quick. And they are 4 inches by 1 3/4 and not quite 1 3/4. It's like 1 5/8. So 1 3/8. 1.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to cut a strip of this that is 3 3/4. 1 5/8. And 1.5. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and ink these to prep. And what this is really is it's kind of just a little place where you can tuck in some writing paper that you can put into a journal and be able to pull out and use it as you need to. So, we have those. You could ink this, but I'll be honest, ink doesn't show up very well on this particular kind of card, but if you're using regular card, by all means, ink. Okay? So now we're going to bring this piece back over. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to cut some circles that are like 3/4 of an inch. An inch. We need 2 of them. Okay? They don't have to be that big. If you have a smaller punch, cut a smaller one. Entirely up to you. All right. So this is going to go on here, but these are going to go first. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. You can tape them if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and glue these 2 panels down. Make the writing go up. Okay. I'm going to put this one on. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it on here, and you can either put this on with an eyelet or with a brad. I'm going to use a brad today, just because I don't normally do it. So I'm going to get out my pokey tool, something to poke into, doesn't really matter. I'm going to put this in the center, find what I think is the center of the hole, and I'm going to go ahead and put a hole through there. Okay. Then I'm going to get the brad that I want to use. I could use plain ones. I could use decorative ones. I could use tiny ones. I think we're just going to use the same tried and true brass ones. I'm going to put that through the hole. Now you can ink this circle if you want to before you put it down. And where's my thing? I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. Here it is. I have here a piece of cardstock that's folded in half. And what I do is I put this, before I put this in, I put this either side of my brad. It's got a little slot in it. And then I put that through there. And then I open these up. Okay. And the reason I do that is so that when I pull this out, that has a little play in it. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to put this in place, put a hole. If you don't want to do this way, you could put an eyelet through it, or you could use the faux ties that we made a while back. Remember those document ties that we made? I'll link the video. Okay. Through the loop, the circle, with the paper, through the hole, turn it over, press down, and open these up. Okay? Then pull that out. That gives you some space. All right? Now, we're going to cover this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I get the, you know, to me, I worry. At least one of them you do have to. So, what I do is I take a piece of double-sided tape that is bigger than the prongs, and I cover it. Okay? So I'm going to do both sides. Because you don't really need to decorate the inside on both sides, but you do want to protect the inside, and you'll understand that in a minute. So if you just want to use a plain piece of cardstock, that's fine. Okay? So I have that pressed down. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off because I'm going to put a piece of paper over that. All right? Make sure I got the right size here. So this one is 1 3/8 by 3 3/4. I could use this if I want to. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm just going to ink this, okay? Just a little bit on one side. I'm not going to see a lot of it, so. But we're going to glue this onto there. You can use any piece of scrap cardstock you want to do this. It's just to protect the paper that we're going to use later. Okay? You could even tape this in if you want to. It is entirely up to you. So we're going to put that in. And then we're going to glue this flap down. Told you guys, I'm silly. All right, I'm going to put some clamps on this and let it dry, and then when I come back, we're going to finish this, okay? So I will be right back. I know this was long, and I apologize, but I'll be right back. All right, so this is now dry. And I have another piece here that's 1 3/4 by 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm just going to glue that down up here. And I'm using the cardstock because, you know, you're going to see this one. So we want it to look nice. Just going to glue that one down. All right. Now, a little bit of string. Around the post. We're going to cut off the excess because this is going to be, you know, how we close this. And then we are going to move on to our paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paper, and we want our paper to be folded smaller than this. So this is 4 inches, so we want our paper to be about 3 1/4, 3 1/2. So I have these pieces, and what I'm going to do is take a couple. I don't need all of them. I'm going to fold them into thirds. Grab my bone folder here. Now you can fold these in half if you have papers that are smaller. It is, work with what you have. Okay? And then I'm going to take these apart. And stack them up. Okay. Then these slide in. This comes down, and you just wrap your string around. Okay? So now, if you want a piece of paper, you just open this up. You can pull out a piece of paper. You can write on this, journal on this, whatever it is you want to do. You can put it back in. You can add it somewhere else in your book. You can push this into a pocket or a belly band or a tuck spot in your journal. And there you go. I'm going to cut this down a little, though, because it's kind of long. Okay? So now I can decorate this if I want to, or I can leave it plain. It is entirely my choice. But there it is. It's just a cute little way of adding some additional writing paper into your journal without, having to put in another page. Because that's got to be about 1.5 pages worth of writing space. That's it. That's my project for today. If you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comment section below, or shoot them off to me, instant message, however you want to do it. Let's see. What else? Check out the community tab here on the YouTube channel. It tells you everything that you need to know. Why don't you subscribe? That would be fun. Or go on over and check out my Facebook group. The link to that is in the description. Until I see you again, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.